Um, so we are recording now. Yeah, no, so Tiffany will save the video on the Zoom, and then she'll post it either to the Rooted Health blog or website, or um Instagram, whichever one she chooses. But the
Okay.
videos should be available, and if you want to rewatch them, then she can send it to you. Like I sent Jared, didn't I send you the link to one before?
I think you did. I'll
The
have to
last one,
dig
right?
it out. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So we can, if you need them, Debbie, I can always send them to you, since you guys have obviously paid for the class. So
Okay. Well, you did send me one a few sets a couple ago. So I didn't know if you did every one of them or not. So that's good.
we can, yeah, we totally can. But yeah, Tiffany definitely wants them recorded so that we can do that, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I have been trying to post like little videos on TikTok, just because that's a good platform to make little videos, add music, and kind of make it a little bit more whimsical,
Mm-hmm.
um, to get attention. So I just did one on like the art space, and like what that, could look like for somebody, or what it should look like, or how organized you should probably be
Okay.
in your space. So that's one on TikTok right now, and I'll get it to her so she can get it posted on the Rooted Health Hub,
Okay.
and that can be available for everybody. In addition to the tape and putting that dark paint on the taped areas,
Yeah.
honey, I also go in like areas like this that I just worked, where I'm adding detail, because you
Yeah.
can use your layered oil paint to add detail and depth to just specific shapes.
Oh, good.
And another way with your acrylic is just to go in with a dry brush and oil paint, and to blot it on top of the acrylic paint, and that will help as well.
Ah,
Yeah, so you don't always have to use the Galkit or the mineral spirits. You can just use a dry brush with acrylic.
yeah.
So it's very versatile, I feel like. But my favorite part, like I said, with oil paint, is that the richness of the color is unmatched. So
Yeah. Yeah, I did the black with the orange and I got brown. So I'm gonna try with this brown.
okay.
All right.
Once you lay that and let it dry, you can go back over it with just orange if you want more orange to come through the layer.
Perfect. Awesome.
And if you don't have the gal kit and want to try the gal kit, you can totally get that. You can get a smaller bottle at Michael's with a coupon for like $15.
Yeah.
I paid like $45 for that big bottle with a half off coupon, because this stuff is expensive. But it goes a long way. A little bit goes a very long way. Um, One thing I will say is, going back in after you've looked at your painting, um,
Yeah.
it kind of helps you see certain things that you maybe want to improve on, or like I would like to blend that a little bit more, but I know that that's still a little wet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and it's kind of cool how it comes together once you start making certain shapes. So I feel like I've worked this painting quite a bit. I think it's almost done.
Nice. Yeah, I'm putting in this brownish or this orange black and it is like completely transparent. So I'm probably gonna have to darken it up a little bit.
Okay. It's definitely something you need to play with on your own painting to be able to figure out.
Yeah.
When I get there though, like we can definitely look at it.
All right. Yeah, this is I'm excited to do that with you. This is my first foray into oil, so
All right. It's not a bad place to start, just using it gingerly.
yeah.
So I'm gonna move on, since you're using tape. I'm gonna move on to this one and tape, or paint on the tape on it, so you guys can kind of see. Since you're using acrylic,
Hmm.
so you're gonna turn it upside down. Um, another thing to think about whenever you're wanting to make like a starburst effect, like I've got going on here,
Yeah.
is instead of painting where you're, see, I've turned it upside down, where you're painting to it. If you pulled away from it, it actually gives it that starburst effect as opposed to painting into it, pulled away from
Very
it.
cool.
That's why, taking a step back and turning your painting, those are all pretty important steps to kind of getting a bigger picture.
Yeah. I never did turn my stuff whenever I was drawing. And man, I think back to some of the drawings I've done in the past and how easy it would have made it if I'd have just turned it for a little perspective.
Right? Taking a step back is also really important. Like I had the easel here next to the closet door and was stepping to the front door, and I wasn't far enough away from it.
Yeah.
So in order to get the full Monet effect where you where you're far away from it enough to see what it looks like from far away, and then it's completely different up front. I
Yeah.
put it over here by the door, and I went to my bedroom, to the bedroom door, and that was a pretty good distance, so I could see what it looked like from there. So
So give yourself some space to back up and take a look, huh?
absolutely. Like, I feel like that's pretty important, just because
Yeah.
if you don't, like, you don't see what people see from like far away. Say, imagine it's in a gallery, and you're like, man, I need to look at that painting way over there.
Instead
And it's not anything like you expect it to be. So I
of
want
being right up on
that.
it.
I want that effect. I want to Monet the hell out of some people.
Yeah.
That paint's dry.
Yeah, this
I
isn't coming in.
not what.
It's not really coming in too dark.
Okay, well, it's you're layering now, so remember
Yeah.
to give it some time to dry and go back in.
Okay.
Start at the edges with the darker, with the black when you get to it.
Yeah.
Start at the edges with the black so that you can blend inward and have your
Okay.
orange in the middle, okay?
All right.
And
This
always
is
let it dry,
fun.
get back to it. This is why
I
what?
love the tape idea. It's fantastic.
Yeah. You can also, if you're like into mixed media, like Tiffany's really into the mixed media portion of it,
Yeah.
um, you can also go in with like bubble wrap, which is really fun. Or like I got this netting stuff from the liquor store bottles.
Yeah.
You
Oh, that's
take that
cool.
down, yeah. If you take that down, that's amazing to use. So I try to stay resourceful with that kind of stuff because it doesn't. You can buy things I think that would make that, but if you're resourceful with it and just on the fly doing it, I feel like it's more conducive to better creativity.
I dig
You're
it.
not. There we go. And this tool is really handy to have because I can't squeeze the tubes of paint very well,
Oh,
and it cranks it through and squeezes all the paint up.
resourceful. You're like the MacGyver of painting. I dig it.
Well, it took a whole semester of like squeezing the crap out of my tubes of paint
Yeah.
just to get all of it out because paint is expensive, especially oil paint,
Yeah.
and you don't want to waste any of it. So I didn't. I bought that tool, and there's better. Oops, there's better ones, but I just had a blowout. This is why you wear gloves. I'm awful.
One good thing I can say about using the acrylic first is it is not picking up at all. Like it's staying right in place when I put this oil over it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of like people that will paint, like do performance painting,
Yeah.
and in order for them to be able to achieve a lot in a short period of time for a performance painting, they use acrylic first for their
Yes.
basic painting. And that was one of the smartest things I think I've ever seen and that I've taken away from it. or from that experience, which it was Filipino artists that came to ETSU. So
Yeah.
um,
That
it
was
was
my
very,
whole theory because I was behind
uh-huh.
on the class. So I'm like,
You're
I'm just
on
gonna start
point
with
with it.
acrylic, get that quick dry.
Totally on point with it because I mean, it serves a purpose for sure. And this is acrylic, like I said, that I've got down, and it's just something I started. And I was going in a much darker direction at that point. I think I did this at the Dean Archer house,
Yeah.
and then I saw the opportunity to use tape. So I'm gonna go in and lay down some orange and build some fire.
All right.
That's pretty cool. I had no idea you could mix the types of oils and the paints and the acrylics and all that stuff.
It's
Oh
amazing.
I
yeah.
thought you had to pick one and stick with it.
Yeah.
No way, no way. Variety is what'd you call it, honey? Variety's the spice of life or whatever.
Yeah.
Now what I'm doing is just palette knifing most of this on. And that paint I just squeezed out of that tube that I had a blowout on, this vermilion, it's super dry. Like it feels like paste. So I'm just adding a little bit of the mineral spirits to it to loosen it up.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to make it translucent. I'm trying to add thickness and texture. And you can do that with your tape as well. I think I showed you that in this painting with the little shards that I've
Oh
got placed.
yes.
So these are like I made a stencil, just 4 pieces of tape. I made a stencil, and then I
Mhm.
just taped it on. So that's also another method of using the tape where you just add different textures to it,
That's
instead
awesome.
of just layering. Yeah, it makes it
Yeah.
really interesting. And also when you're doing that, so like this, when I laid this one down, I wanted it to be behind this shape. So you just use your brain and just paint only the parts that show it where that's behind the shape as opposed to on top of it.
Okay.
Like this one's on top of this glob right here.
Yeah.
And this one's behind it. So it
Uh-huh.
adds it adds
You're like adding
interesting.
mini depth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very cool.
Tina, your painting that direction looked like a hand reaching for a bunch of radishes.
I know, right? I was like, this is the orientation that I like.
Yeah, but up the other way. It's reaching down for it.
Like this.
Yeah.
And I was trying to go in the way of like making these look like flowers because I liked
Yeah.
how that looked. And then I started going in with a little bit more of the purple and then like this peachy color, and then that happened. And I mean, it just is what it is.
It is. It's crazy. I
But
like it.
it's the colors are super rich. It's kind of like once you get an aesthetic as an artist and you kind of understand what appeals to you,
Yeah.
like my palette, my color palette has remained the same since undergrad.
Big
It's all
long,
those 90s purples and greens and blue. I mean, all the colors. Like
Hmm.
it's not one specific color
no scheme.
or like one hue. It's like all the colors and richness of all them. So you can definitely see that in all my paintings pretty much. There's a couple that are like just yellows and browns,
Yeah.
but that was for me at that point, that was to use up all the paint that I had. So there's really no rhyme or reason. But once you get your own aesthetic and then you start utilizing your resources, then you can kind of start, I don't know, figuring out what your palette is. And honestly, mine keeps continuously going back to purples and greens and blues.
Thank goodness, because I love them.
Definitely personality. And speaking of personality, remember I was telling you last night how your painting is, and that's your personality, like going in and you're more
It's gonna
organic
be
and
delicate.
flowy.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Wow.
yeah, there's the paint. Literally how our personalities are.
So you may not like it, Canvas, but you're taking this paint. And I'm like, is it okay to put this paint right here, Canvas? Do you approve?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. And I mean, that's why art is what it is, because there's so many different personalities and so many different artists and so many different ways. There's not one that's the same. And if they are the same, then they're not really trying hard to be themselves. And you can kind of tell in their art.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So this,
that's one thing I'm having to do with the delicacy that you're talking about is I do need to be just I need to be more comfortable with my style and embrace it.
yeah. And nobody else can determine that for you, obviously. So
Yeah.
once you get comfortable with what you're working with, then it all tends to come together naturally. And like, you were asking me how it looks, and I know that everybody's always self-conscious about their own painting. Like I'm always asking you about my paintings. But then I look
Yeah.
at yours, I'm like, man, I'm so jealous that you can get those shapes and leave them be. I
Yeah.
can't. I can't
I
leave it
gotta
be.
mess with them.
I always have to add more. Like but wait, there's more.
Now, one speaking of more, before you did the tape, you started with some composition work, as you can see with your greens that are in there spinning
Yeah.
around and your ribbons and stuff. Since
Yeah.
I haven't done that, I still need to go back in because mine looks like very patchwork right now.
Yep.
So in order to make that even more organic, as you were calling my work, I still need to compose, correct?
Totally, totally. You want
Okay.
you want to look at it once you find a good orientation to see the painting in and kind of getting comfortable with it. You want to
Yeah.
look at it as a viewer when they walk up to it. How is their eye leading into the painting? Where is
Yeah.
it going throughout the painting, and how does it come out of the painting? And so when you do that and you're thinking about it from that point of view, then you can start to go in and add more organic lines and shapes to connect things or to change the direction of things. And
Yes.
so that's why you're never truly like done with a
Done.
painting until you can stand back and get the Monet view and walk up to it and be like, okay, I'm happy with it from back here, and I'm
Yep.
happy with it from up here. And when you get to that point, then you can consider a painting to be done.
Yes. I
So a
love
lot of
that.
people, I have issues with, well, when is that painting done? And that's why I have so many paintings sitting over here, because I'm like, is it done? I don't know. And then I'll go back to work it and I'll add a little bit, like the Gene Simmons one.
Yeah. I
Gene
love that
here,
you call it the Gene Simmons one, by the way.
old Gene here, who's up
Yeah.
for $500. This little
Yeah.
6x6. This painting started out as one of those that I did in art school, where it's got my face on it, and my face is mixed with an animal, and then it was monochromatic of that. So I had 6 of these with my face. So
Cool.
my face is on there, and then I went over it and did abstract shapes with bright pink and green, obviously.
Yeah.
And then when I was doing the green pour on this painting, I was like, well, let's just use this one. And I slapped this bad boy on top of that one and I rubbed it around
Yeah.
and I picked it up and then I blotted it. And then I had more interesting shapes. And then I went
Yeah.
in and filled them in, and then I was done. So this
Got it.
painting has been years in the making.
Yep.
Mm.
Well, see,
So
I feel better because, like, I always felt when I was a kid, I would start little art drawings and stuff, and never finish them. And I had just sketchbooks upon sketchbooks filled with just quote unquote unfinished works.
yep,
And God, if I would still have that sketchbook, I would go back in today and start reworking them and messing with them still.
totally. You totally can. Even
Yep.
if you have an idea from, back then that you can kind of remember what it looked like.
Hmm.
I mean, I recommend just getting a sketchbook and starting. Part
Yes.
of part of organizing your art space to me is having a sketchbook so that you can jot down ideas and sketches of shapes. If you have something that inspired you to just like, you have to write it down, keep a
Yes.
sketchbook. Here's mine. It's under the desk. I keep it
Yep.
right here. Because if I need to stop for a second and like if I like a specific color, like I have to write down what 2 colors I use to make that. And you kind of, one thing I learned, because I'm not very good at keeping track of what I'm using, I'm just mixing and going with it, letting it be what it is. That's not always good. Being that free with it isn't always good, because then you're like, well, what did I mix to get that? And how do I get that again? And it never happens because I
I
don't
would
write it down.
pray for that level of freedom. though.
Yeah, it's frustrating for me because I'm like, oh, what did I use?
So I
What you
think I'm
got
gonna
going
add a
on?
couple of those little accents. Those little, just one-off little things, but that's what I've got so far.
Let me tap your screen so I can see. All right.
Ah, can't get it to work in it though.
Ooh, I like that left side over there. Is that where you started and it was brown?
Right here? Wait, right
On
here?
the left? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you go in with that orange, that's gonna pull that forward like you want it to, or yeah, pull it forward like you want it to.
Okay.
And
Yeah, but it really
then,
added more interest there. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally did. And
and what's
I'm
fun
kind of,
about that, honey? Go ahead.
I just didn't know what to do with this, so I don't know if I want to just add a couple of those little streaks like you did, or if I want to maybe do a different color right here. Maybe I'll do the phthalo blue right here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna suggest actually, was to start with your blue there.
Okay, we'll
What
do
I
it.
was saying about your painting and how much more interesting that's going to be is the fact that it is so organic and light underneath all your like stark geometric lines.
Yes.
It's going to look great. And if you take your tape up, I don't want you to freak out if it's bled underneath the tape a little bit,
Yeah.
because you can go in with your mineral spirits and clean that up because it's acrylic underneath.
Huh.
Beautiful. It's just like a sheet of plastic under there, colored plastic, huh?
Pretty much. Now, I don't really understand fire. Is it darker at the base of a fire?
That's
Yes.
usually, yeah. Well,
For some reason, my brain was like not processing what I'm doing, and I think it's because I had it upside down.
Yeah, it was looking like a volcano though, with lava flowing.
yeah, you mentioned mixed
Yeah.
media. I think acrylic and oil is the way to go for me, for sure.
Hmm.
Because I used to do pastel and colored pencil together.
Hey, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you mentioned you and Tiffany like mixed media. What kinds do you like?
Um,
You and her.
when I say mixed media, it's like getting getting different products like the paste or like the
Oh, I
acrylic,
see.
like this acrylic paste stuff, which you might like to use this too,
All right.
this stuff, because it's
You're getting
like
me excited.
molding paste.
Oh, cool.
Modeling paste, acrylic modeling paste. So you can lay that on your painting and use your palette knives or use your tools or use like even cookie cutters. And put those textures, let it dry, and then go over it with your painting. And that's
Yeah.
mixed media. You can use photos, you can use prints, you can use leaves and grass and flowers. I mean, you can use anything and it's mixed media. If you have one medium and then you put another, it's mixed media.
Yeah.
So
You're trying to make me dangerous.
I'm trying to give you the liberty to do with it as you please, because if you're holding yourself back because it's not looking a certain way, then you definitely need to let go.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want to see people come in and like not be tied to this painting has to look a certain way because this is the ebb and flow of art. No, no, like it doesn't have to look any specific way. It can look whatever way you want it to. It has to have certain aspects of, composition in order for it to be a good painting, like something that people are going to want to stand and look at. Otherwise, you just got a bunch of stuff on a canvas. So you do have to have a little bit of knowledge on the composition and what it is you're trying to do,
Yeah.
or just the natural capability to go in and to make something look really, really cool. And there's some people out there that exist like that, and I'm completely envious.
So if I have some paintings that were all oil, can you add anything to that?
Absolutely. You can go back in over top and add like sequence if you're feeling that, or glitter.
Well, I mean, like to maybe do something else and cover up the places that are horrible and just make
Yeah.
it different. Okay.
Yeah, you can with acrylic paint, the good thing about acrylic paint, if you have an oil painting, you can go over top of a section of an oil painting with acrylic paint, and
Oh, okay.
you can do that pretty thick and let that dry, and then go over top of that with oil paint again.
Hmm.
So that's one way that I would do that. Like if I had an oil painting
Yeah.
and there's a part I need to redo or revisit, then maybe I'll go over that with some acrylic paint to kind of add a different shape in a more like thick consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Let it dry because it dries so easy and so quick. And then go over it with oil paint and kind of add, your richness and your definition with that.
Okay. Cool.
So it's definitely possible. It's just exploring those different methods and not, like I said, not getting tied to one specific um way or method or color or shape or
Yeah.
whatever.
So would it be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
Okay. Would it be too bizarre to take like a realistic part of my painting and then the changes I make it abstract and keep the realistic? No, you
No,
cannot.
I recommend you add to it. I recommend you do that actually.
So I
It's
could
not,
mix the styles.
yeah, it's not bizarre at all.
Oh, good.
See,
Then there may
see
be hope for these.
what I'm doing here, because what this painting looks like is boots and someone laying here, and I'm abstractly putting the flames. I'm not making it
Mhm.
look like a fire. I'm
Right.
just using the color of fire.
Okay.
So, and then, I mean, you can go in and make those shoes abstract or the ground abstract,
Hmm.
painting like, let's see if I've got one here. Making something that's representational, but
Hmm.
painting it abstractly is totally possible. I know I have one that I did of Lucas. Here it is. So I've been working with this, and this is abstractly done.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
So it's not just painted on with a brush, it's layered on with a palette knife. This is all palette knife work.
Wow.
You can tell in the texture. I don't know if you can see all that.
Yeah, I
But
can. Cool.
and instead of like blending with a brush, I blended with the palette knife. So it's super, super textured, super abstract, and this is
Hmm.
all acrylic neon paint. So this will actually
That's,
glow in the dark
yeah.
or
That's awesome.
glow in black light.
You just cracked open some glow sticks. Don't lie.
Uh,
I did. It's poison.
So, with mine, should I let it dry before I pull the tape? Because I'm kind of excited to see what happened here.
Did you fill all your spaces that you wanted to with the tape on there?
Yeah. Now with the part that's still patchworky, I want to
Mm-hmm.
compose first, and then I'm going to go back in with tape like you did and add just like a couple little green highlights.
Okay, then pull the tape.
Pull the tape. All right.
Good
ooh, how
deal.
exciting. How exciting.
Yeah.
And wait, put your camera
Uh,
on it. Let's see it.
oh, oh,
Okay.
Let's see
I
it.
don't know how to do that. There's a way
Just
to
turn your
switch.
oh.
camera around and set it down like you were with it
Are you
facing your canvas.
Okay.
can,
I
can
can't.
you?
I don't know if I can pull and here. Let me
Oh,
just line it
yeah.
up back here. Let me move this bourbon bottle here.
I should have given you that tripod.
Totally. See, is it in frame?
You're in frame.
Oh, I'm in frame.
Yeah, put it on selfie or something, or not selfie. Yeah. Oh, I see it.
There you go.
Okay, I
You're in
see it.
frame.
All right.
Woo-hoo.
surgery. Oh, yay. I have so much lemon yellow.
Ooh.
Crimson red.
Oh, wow.
Hey, look at that.
It's fabulous.
I knew that those organic shapes were gonna be popping with those abstract ones on top.
Lines, yeah.
You like?
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Once this stuff is less patchworky, once I blend it into something and compose it, then I'll be really happy with how this is turning out.
Yeah, give us a
Yep.
close-up. Let's see that close-up.
Okay. That's back there. I'm still kind of working out.
Mhm.
Set my
Wow.
studio up.
That's awesome.
Yay.
It looks
Yeah.
so good.
Good job, Ange.
Oh, I
Fantastic.
appreciate it.
Excellent.
Sold.
Yeah. You got some competition now, honey. No.
Uh-huh.
Always. Everybody that creates is always competition. I'm competition with myself, like, oh gosh, now I gotta do better.
Well, that was a great class, honey. I'm glad that I learned that mixed media is not always a bad thing, and
Oh, good.
learned
Debbie, did
how.
you have any questions about the mixed media part of that?
Not yet because you've been answering a lot, but you are making it so much fun. And I'm
Oh,
excited
yay.
to get back to I can't wait to get back to it.
I definitely want people to have fun and not think that like it's one of those classes like we went to that one time and everybody painted the same picture.
Yes.
I love that too,
But
though.
I
It
mean,
was
I like
cool.
doing
Yeah.
that under certain situations, but like it's
But
more fun
yeah.
to not have any structure and just to go in and create and to be free with it, because when you're not tied down to like, oh, it's got to look like this by the end of this time,
Yeah.
then I mean, I feel like you get to add more of your personality to it. And I would actually kind of like to see everybody's own personality come out in their paintings that we're creating on these Zoom classes.
Yeah.
So that's the goal of getting more and more people involved, which I still hope to do. So
I
yeah,
hope you
just
will too.
continue. I mean, you guys are really supportive and I appreciate it so much, but continue to share the link and invite people. And I mean, I'm doing a lot of that with like TikTok and Instagram. So
Mhm.
I've got a whole army of people that are helping out, and it's fantastic.
It's going to
Like,
get better because you're fantastic.
have I got personality on the
You got
camera?
you got something.
I got a little bit of something. All right,
Yeah.
so I think that I'm done adding flames to this fire here. Who wants to see me pull that off?
I do. And I got
Uh,
a PSA while you're doing that is that I thought I would be dead because of the fumes from the oil in this little apartment. And
Oh
no,
God.
I don't smell a thing. I
yeah, the
used
odorless mineral spirits are so vital, but the oil paint, it does have its own smell to it. So I'm just glad you're not dying.
Yeah.
All right,
Me
here goes
too.
here
All
goes
right.
this reveal
Oh my God, all at once.
all at once, and I didn't like that on purpose.
Uh-huh. Woo! Ah, look at that.
amazing.
And then you still don't know which direction you're going, or is that how you want it?
No, that's the way it's going because
Okay.
it's turned into someone laying on the ground. So now I've got a
Uh-huh.
little bit of a composition to work with. Just got to
Cool.
get in and paint it really well.
Okay.
But if you see when you palette knife the paint on with let me turn this a little bit. When you palette knife the paint on,
Mm-hmm.
look at how it mixes. And I
Yeah.
mean that to me just kind of adds to way fire is unpredictable. It's
Uh-huh.
just unpredictability. And I love
It's
it.
very shiny. I love it too.
So
You're
yeah,
both
that's all I
doing
have.
great. And if you can show I don't know, if you're able to show parts of your work as you get done, we can show more people. Look what we can do. She's teaching us to do all these creative things.
Absolutely. So what she'll do and what I'll try to do is take snippets of the Zoom classes and stuff
Yeah.
and kind of piece them together. So that's the next overall goal. That's why
Mhm.
like when you work on your painting, honey, taking progress pictures,
Mm-hmm.
super vital, and just send them to me so that I can put them together and be like, this is where he started and this is where he ended,
Mhm.
and this is how he got there with the class.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when
Good. That
people
way
see
you
that,
won't have to post Zooms of my dirty table.
well, I mean, your art space is your art space. It's not dirty.
Yeah.
It's full of creative
Yeah,
inspiration.
I like that perspective.
All
Well,
right. Well,
you've made me feel hopeful and excited. It's going to be fun.
yay, I'm so happy because it's definitely a lot easier than people make it seem to be, and people overthink painting and being an artist. And it actually, like Bob Ross said, anything with practice, you can be a pro. So
It's true. Okay, thank you, Tina.
thank you, Miss Debbie, for joining.
Always.
Now clean up with oil. Any lessons there?
Yes. Palette knife, wipe with your rag. T-shirts are the best. Use old t-shirts, cut them up, use that. Your mineral spirits, once you're done rinsing your brush and you've got it dry,
Yeah.
you can use Dawn dish soap is what I recommend. And I always put like just a little bit with warm water running, like just a trinkle of warm water, put a little bit of Dawn dish soap and swirl your brushes in your hand like that. Get them clean. And when they're done cleaning, you want them to dry this way
Okay.
because all these brushes have adhesive. And if you aren't careful, this happens.
Ah,
That
okay.
adhesive then becomes no longer existent. And honestly, you can just throw some super glue in there and glue that bad boy back. That's how cheap I am with these brushes. I will continue to use them.
Well,
You
how do
just
you
glue
hang
them
them
back
upside down
together.
like that to dry?
They have things that you can use. There's different ways that you can makeshift your own. If you just lay them sideways over the edge of the sink,
Okay,
that should work just fine.
perfect.
I'll find a couple of ideas and get a couple products posted on the Rooted Hub website or blog and give them to Tiffany to put on there. But there's products and things that you can use where you're hanging them like that, and it's
Cool.
meant for that because that's how you want your brushes to dry. You want all of
Perfect.
that to seep away from the glue.
I knew there was a reason why I only poured a little bit of mineral spirits and not a big old jug of it.
Yeah. And in my organization video, I did mention having 2 jars of mineral spirit or 4 mineral spirits, one empty, one not,
Mhm.
because whenever you rinse your brushes, all of that's in the jar will settle at the bottom.
Yeah.
So for your next painting session, get an empty jar, pour the mineral spirits into it, and leave the sediment at the bottom. Get a paper towel and clean it up and throw it away. That way you have good mineral spirits where there's no sediment in it. Because if not, what will happen is you'll get your brush and you'll dip it in there and rinse it at the bottom and pull your brush out, and you're gonna have all the nasty sediment on that brush, and then you're not gonna be able to mix your paint with it or paint with it. You're gonna have to re-clean all your brushes. So that's
Good
important.
idea.
If I go to rinse out a jar, is it okay to pour just the little remnants of mineral spirits down the drain or no?
I would not recommend doing that at all.
Okay, fair enough.
On your bottle, it should tell you how to get rid of it. It's a lot like oil. You know how you recycle oil and take it to like an automotive shop or something?
Yeah.
I think that there is definitely a way to get rid of your mineral spirits. I honestly use them until I don't have any. And what usually sops it up is my t-shirts. And my t-shirts get thrown in the trash. So you can do that, or you can use them as fireballs, whatever.
Well, thank you for the extra time.
Well, yeah, anytime. And I can't wait to see the progress. Don't forget your progress photos. And Debbie, when you start, if you have questions, You can always refer to the videos and we'll send them to you, or you can just shoot me a message and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. That's great.
Yay. Thanks for joining again, you guys.
All right.
All
Bye.
right, bye.
Yeah.